Doing God's work, mate, keeping all the drunks on the road. I can't believe people take money off people who do these reckless drink driving. Get them off the charge so they can go do it again and kill someone. When he eventually kills someone, I hope you are still proud that you helped him get off. Disgusting behavior. Those are, of course, responses to a recent video that I made indicating that I've had drink driving charges withdrawn. I'm keeping them on the road, apparently, these drink drivers here. Our laws allow people to drink and drive by allowing them to have a certain level of alcohol in their system and imposing the responsibility onto them to manage that level of alcohol to a standard that does not exceed the prescribed limit. All that legal jargon is pretty much just summarized in the Road Safety Act that just says that you can't be above 0.05. That means you can have a couple of drinks and you can manage it yourself, and if you go a little bit over, then you'll be caught by the provisions. What do I have to do with that? Parliament's intention was that you're allowed to drive with alcohol in your system. They're keeping the drink drivers on the road. So technically the law keeps drink drivers on the road, right? But the law also imposes an onus onto the prosecution, I think a very fair one, that they have to provide the evidence to prove that even drink drivers can be found guilty beyond reasonable doubt. That is, they need to have the evidence to show that the person was in fact drink driving in accordance with the law, how the law states it. There's, for instance, 3-hour provisions within which a breath test can be taken, because what happens is that alcohol dissipates in the system. You need to prove that blood alcohol content as a numeric number exists in the body within that 3-hour period when it's tested. We're not alleging with drink driving that the person was so completely smashed that they were, they mauled down 5 people or they smashed into a couple of cars. We're not saying that. We are just saying that the person was driving and he had a certain level of blood alcohol above the limit. That's what a drink driver is. It's not the worst thing in the world. You'd be surprised. I reckon most people that I'm talking to right now know someone who's been done for drink driving before. So imposing the onus on the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that someone is drink driving. They need to establish 2 things. 1, the person was the driver. They do that by establishing identity, of course. 2nd, they do the breath test and they go through the evidentiary and then they get that reading. Now, if they screwed up along the way and they can't prove any of that, that's where I step in. Don't be so upset with me because I'm so good at my job that I uphold that onus onto the prosecution. I'm required. I'd ask you not to forget the other side of the scale. There are a lot of people that are just that little bit over. Maybe they blow 0.06 or 0.07 or even 0.51. I've seen it. That's a 6-month license cancellation with interlock periods, mandatory drink driving behavior courses. You're off the road for 6 months. You're the sole owner of the family. Your family needs you to provide an income. Sometimes you're a driver. You drive trucks for a living. You can't work anymore. You're out of a job for 6 months. You've got a mortgage to pay. You've got all these bills. What about those people? That's the majority of people. It's not the guys that are registering 0.28 and I get them off. Most of the time, those guys are so fucked that they just comply with the police because they don't know what the hell's going on anyway. Or they go to the hospital because they're so screwed up that they get their blood test taken. And they just register such a high reading. Those aren't the guys. The guys that aren't getting off are the ones that suffer. And they're the ones that suffer the most. And the law provides for that. They capture it. What am I saying here? I'm not advocating for the law to change. What I'm saying is that the scales of justice balance out. For all the drink drivers that do get off, there are a numerous amount of people, far more, that don't get off, that just blow that little bit over and their lives are so much harder, them and their families, because that was Parliament's intention. If you're going to be upset at someone, be upset at the government, be upset at Parliament for making all these laws. Don't be upset with me for upholding the system the way it is and making sure that it operates fairly. But here's the reality. You're not an offender until you offend. So the people that are leaving these comments, the next time you're in trouble and you blow just that little bit over and you fall into that category that I just described, you know exactly who to call.